In this video, we're going to look at trig functions and determine the value of all 6 trig functions given any point on the Cartesian plane. In order to do this, we're going to be looking at a point given, and we actually won't even know what theta is most of the time. But that's okay, because we can use that point to find all the values. So whenever you're given a point, you're given an x and y value, and then instead of calling this d for distance, we're going to call it r. So we're calling that length r. Keep in mind that r is always positive, because it is a length. Our point x and y, this can be negative or positive because it's a point on the grid. So now I'm going to break this down into x's and y's instead of opposites and hypotenuses. So if I take a triangle and I put the right angle in right here, this would be my theta. This is the opposite, which is the vertical distance, which is y, and then this would be my adjacent, which is my x value. So we're going to look at sine now, and so sine is y over r, cosine is x over r, and tangent, since it's sine over cosine, or it's opposite over adjacent, it's y over x. And then to find the other 3, all you have to do is take the reciprocal of the previous 3. So this would be r over y, r over x, and x over y. And we're going to use this in order to solve the next example where we need to find the exact value of all 6 trig functions. Example 1. Let the point 8, negative 6 be the point on the terminal side of an angle theta in the standard position. Find the exact values of the 6 trig functions of theta. So what we need to do first is draw a xy axis, and then go ahead and plot the point 8, negative 6, which is going to be about right here. And then what you want to do is go ahead and make a triangle, and you always draw your triangle back up to the x-axis. And I'm just going to put my right angle in here for fun. And then I also like to label this as x and this as y. That helps me keep everything together. And then r is my hypotenuse. So then on the side, I like to label things out. So I get x is equal to 8 and y is equal to negative 6. That also comes from the point that you're given. Now the problem is we have to find r. But it's not that much of a problem because we can use the Pythagorean theorem because it's 3 sides of a triangle. So you get x squared plus y squared is r squared. And we get r is 10. So now this becomes really straightforward. We just have to do what we've been doing in the previous section and find all the ratios. Alright, so we know that sine is going to be y over r. So it's negative 6 over 10. So we get negative 3 over 5. Cosine is going to be x over r. So it's going to be 8 over 10. So it's 4 over 5. And tangent is going to be y over x. So it's negative 6 over 8. So it's negative 3/4. And to find the remaining 3, all you got to do is flip them. So negative 5/3, 5/4, and negative 4/3. That's it. All done. So now on your own, I want you to try to determine the value of the 6 trig functions given a point. Okay, so what I like to do is get myself set up, and I'm just going to plot the point, 4, 3, make a triangle, put my right angle in, and start labeling everything. So this is my x, so it's 4, this is my y, so it's 3, and this is r. So again, we just have to solve for r. So x is 4, y is 3, and r is not sure. Well, we got to use the Pythagorean theorem. So we get r is 5. And now it's just plugging everything in. And that's it. So you just find all your ratios and then flip them to get your other 3 trig functions. Alright, let's try b. Okay, so we've drawn our triangle in, and we know that this is going to be negative 1, this is negative 2. So x is negative 2, y is negative 1, and we just need to find r. So negative 2 squared plus negative 1 squared equals r squared. 4 plus 1 is r squared. 5 is equal to r squared, so r is the square root of 5. And now we're just going to put in all our values into our trig functions. So sine again is y over r. So we get negative 1 over radical 5. And then we rationalize that by multiplying by radical 5 over radical 5. And we get negative radical 5 over 5. And to find cosecant, we're going to take the reciprocal of this. So you get negative radical 5. Cosine is going to be negative 2 over radical 5. And we're going to rationalize that again. So you get negative 2 radical 5 over 5. And then we take the reciprocal and we get negative radical 5 over 2. And then tangent is y over x. So we get negative 1 over negative 2, which is 1/2. And the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2.